King Charles just played his final, devastating card against his own brother, and the British monarchy will genuinely never look the same after today. Sources claim the grand gates of the Royal Lodge are effectively locked, but what the former prince is allegedly demanding in secret to actually pack his bags is so completely absurd it is tearing the royal family apart. And I am going to reveal the exact £75 million ultimatum that has Buckingham Palace in absolute panic mode right now. According to reports, the king has initiated a formal process to completely strip his brother of every remaining title and honor he holds. The prestigious title of prince, it is reportedly gone. The Duke of York, erased from official active use. He is now allegedly expected to be known simply as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. But the real drama is why this sudden, aggressive move happened right now, this week, and it has everything to do with a newly uncovered set of extremely controversial documents that the palace desperately wanted to keep entirely out of the public eye. According to various news outlets, a fresh batch of highly scrutinized files was released in early 2026, putting the former royal squarely back in the crosshairs of global public outrage due to his past associations. You might naturally think that losing his titles was the absolute worst of it, but royal insiders claim that Charles has fundamentally cut off his brother's financial lifeline, creating a desperate high-stakes standoff behind closed doors. And wait until you hear what Andrew is reportedly demanding just to leave his massive 30-room mansion. It is alleged that the former prince has been stubbornly clinging to his sprawling Windsor estate, pointing aggressively to a cast-iron lease he signed decades ago that supposedly ensures his residency until the year 2078. But the king reportedly found a brutal, unapologetic loophole to force his hand. By allegedly pulling the plug on the massive private security funding required to keep the estate safe, Charles effectively made the property entirely unlivable for a high-profile figure. It is a brilliant, ruthless tactical move that no one saw coming. But Andrew's reported counteroffer is where this entire story goes from a simple family real estate dispute to what looks like a royal shakedown. Whispers from well-placed royal insiders suggest that Andrew is asking for an astronomical payout of £75 million just to even consider handing over the keys to the property. Yes, you heard that correctly. He allegedly wants a massive fortune just to vacate a property where he reportedly pays a mere peppercorn rent of practically nothing each year. And the situation gets even more unbelievable because he is not just asking for cash, he is allegedly demanding a fully staffed luxury replacement mansion. But here is the critical detail about those demands that fundamentally changes how we should view this entire unprecedented situation. Sources claim that Andrew wants a sprawling new estate on the Sandringham grounds, but he expects it to come complete with a private chef, a dedicated gardener, a personal driver, and round-the-clock police protection funded entirely by the Crown. It is almost funny in a highly sarcastic, deeply ironic way. Imagine being so publicly disgraced, having your honors formally stripped away, and your immediate response is allegedly to ask your brother to fund a free luxury resort experience for the rest of your natural life. But King Charles's reaction to this alleged list of demands is the true turning point of this 2026 saga, and it reveals a side of the monarch we have rarely seen. Reports suggest the king is holding extremely firm on his decision, and while his brother might eventually get a modest roof over his head, the golden days of unlimited, unquestioned royal perks are completely and utterly over. Charles is reportedly trying to forcefully modernize a monarchy that simply cannot afford to subsidize a massive public relations nightmare anymore, especially with the global economy facing its own challenges.
In my own personal view, this was truly the only logical step for the king to take if he wants to preserve the long-term integrity of the crown in the modern era. It shows a very necessary, albeit cold, willingness to put the survival of the institution high above blind family loyalty. But the fallout from this ruthless decision is already creating a massive ripple effect across the rest of the royal family that threatens to destabilize other members. Let us not forget his former wife, who still reportedly shares the royal lodge despite their divorce years ago. Insiders claim she is now scrambling behind the scenes to find her own separate accommodations, adding a whole new layer of logistical chaos to this incredibly messy eviction process. And the collateral damage inevitably extends to their two daughters, who must now awkwardly navigate this incredibly public, humiliating demotion of their father while maintaining their own delicate royal duties. Yet there is a heavily guarded, hidden strategy behind the exact timing of this eviction that most mainstream media outlets are completely missing right now. Why did the palace choose this exact moment to strike such a fatal blow to his reputation? According to several royal experts, it is a highly calculated distraction meant to draw attention away from other internal palace tensions. But more importantly, it is a final, desperate attempt to permanently clean house before the next major royal transition occurs. By entirely ripping the Band-Aid off now, Charles is allegedly ensuring that his heir will not have to deal with this incredibly toxic problem when his time eventually comes to take the throne. This brings us back to the biggest, most explosive question of all. What exactly happens if the former prince simply refuses to physically leave the premises? If he truly digs his heels in, we could be looking at a completely unprecedented, incredibly ugly legal battle between the Crown Estate and a former senior royal, something that has not happened in modern history. It is alleged that current negotiations are crawling at a painfully slow pace, with the former duke reportedly haggling over every single minor detail like a desperate businessman trying to salvage a bankrupt company. The king has definitively made his final, unchangeable move, but this high-stakes game of royal chess is far from over, and the next few weeks will completely determine if the disgraced brother quietly accepts his permanent exile or decides to burn the remaining bridges on his way out the door. In my honest opinion, this entire prolonged saga feels significantly less like a majestic, dignified royal chronicle and much more like a chaotic, scripted reality television show where the drama never ends. But it is absolutely impossible to look away from the sheer historical weight of a sitting king formally and publicly banishing his own flesh and kin, prioritizing the legacy of the crown over familial bonds.